Hey guys, so today I wanted to go over what I eat in a day. I'll show you exactly what I do eat today. It's probably one of the most frequent questions that I get asked, having to do with my eating habits and what I eat. So I'll show you what I do today, but first I wanted to go over some of the rules that I follow when it comes to my eating. So first and foremost, I do 2 meals a day. Every day I eat 2 meals. There may be a day here and there sprinkled in where I'll actually only eat 1 meal, but generally speaking, I do 2 meals a day. I don't eat before my first meal, I don't eat in between the 2 meals, and I don't eat after my last meal. Now, I try to make sure that my second meal is finished at least a couple to a few hours before I go to bed. There may be a day that pops up here and there where I eat a little later than I expected, and I may be in bed within an hour and a half. Not optimal. I try to make sure that it doesn't happen, but none of us are perfect. We're going to have that off day here and there. But generally speaking, I like to give myself that 2.5 to 3 hour cushion before bed and my last meal. Now, I also follow an intermittent fasting schedule, and I do a minimum of 16 hours a day. And I think this is a point of confusion with a lot of people. I've talked to people about it, and they kind of feel that when you do it, well, I can only eat between noon and 8 p.m. or 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. There are no hard and fast hours in the day. You base it off of your last meal. So today is Tuesday. I actually ate yesterday a little earlier than I normally do. I got finished with my second meal at 4 p.m. So I would count ahead 16 hours, which means I wouldn't eat anything before 8 a.m. today. I very rarely eat that early, but that would be the cutoff point. I wouldn't eat prior to 8 a.m. And then whatever time you did decide to eat, let's say, I waited till 10 a.m. Today to eat, you count ahead 8 hours from that time. And you would want to have the second meal within that 8-hour time frame. Okay, you wouldn't want to go over that 8 hours. And then whatever time you did eat that second meal, you would just count ahead 16 hours again, and that would be a cutoff point for the next day. And I hope that makes sense. Now, as far as the makeup of my meals, what I don't do is I don't eat any type of the processed foods. I try to eat all whole foods. I eat a little bit of anything. I don't box myself in. I'm not vegan. I'm not carnivore. I'm not keto. I find that a lot of people get hooked into that. I'm a vegan. I'm a carnivore. The only way to do it is keto. I don't believe that. But on the flip side, if you're vegan, if you're carnivore, whatever you do, if you find it sustainable, you find it appetizing, and most importantly, you're otherwise healthy doing it, then go right ahead and do it. But I'm not inclined to get into a debate with people over what's the best type of diet to follow or type of foods to eat. The one thing I will say, and there's no debate when it comes to this, that the standard American diet that's systematically killing all of us, the ultra processed foods, all the junk foods that we eat, is by far the most toxic, unhealthy, organ rotting way you can eat. Okay, as far as the other ways, again, like the vegans and the carnivores and the whatnot, if you're otherwise healthy, and there is a place for some of that. Some of those, like the keto diet, is in some ways a therapeutic diet, and I guess the carnivore diet can be too. So there are places for things like that. And again, if you're otherwise healthy, you find it appetizing and sustainable within your lifestyle, then go right ahead. But nobody is going to make the case that the standard American diet with the processed food and the sugar and the toxic seed oils is in any way, shape, or form sustainable or healthy or any way to live. So all that said, I'll get into what I do eat today. I'll show you exactly what I eat, the makeup of both of my meals. Every day starts with my coffee. I drink coffee every day, usually throughout the day. So that, for that reason, as with everything, the poison's in the dose. That much caffeine isn't a way to go either. So what I do is I make I mix half regular with half decaffeinated coffee. And I do buy a brand of coffee that when they decaffeinate the coffee, pretty much every major brand the way they do it is this chemical process. And of course the food companies will tell you that the chemicals are perfectly safe. I'm not buying it. So I use a brand that uses what they call the Swiss water method, and they just use water to decaffeinate the coffee. Hopefully I'm doing something better by doing that, but I guess we'll see in the end. But that's it. I make my coffee and I drink that, again, with nothing in it, just plain black coffee, and I drink that pretty much throughout the day. So like I mentioned earlier, I got finished eating yesterday. Today's Tuesday. Yesterday, Monday, I actually finished up a little earlier than I normally do, so I got done eating at 4 p.m. Right now it's Tuesday, about 11 a.m. So I'm going to whip up my meal, and once I do that, I'll sit down and I'll show you exactly what we're having. All right, guys, so meal number one, course number one. Today, if you can see that, I have a little bit of pork and beef mixed together. Usually get like a big hunk of either or both, grill it up for the week, and then you can just cut it up, you know, throughout the week as you need it. So I have about 8 ounces in here, and all I do is I chop it up. I throw some grass-fed butter in the pan, throw the meat in for a minute or two just to warm it up. A little bit of salt and pepper, some pink salt and pepper, and that's about it. You could spice it up however you see fit. And then along with that, I like to eat some fermented foods. So I normally get a kimchi. For some reason the store's out of it lately. But the same company makes this concoction that's cabbage and beets. And it's just spiced up with some salt, garlic, and ginger, I think. But that's fermented. And also I have some pickles in there. I don't get the normal store brand pickles that are usually, you know, in vinegar, and they'll add sugar, which I is beyond me why they have to add sugar to pickles, but they do. So I get a brand that is in salt. You just want it in the brine. You want them as clean as possible. There's always probably going to be some type of preservative in there, but you want to just get the cucumber in salt, you know, and maybe, you know, some other type of spice. Keep it as clean as possible. So that's it for the first course. I'm going to get started on this, and then the only thing I drink with this meal is just plain water. I don't drink anything else with it. So I'm going to get rid of this, and then I'll get on to course number 2. All right, guys, we're still on meal number 1, now round number 2, course number 2. If you can see that, I have a sweet potato in there. I have a little bit of coconut oil on top, and sprinkle it with some Ceylon cinnamon. There's Ceylon cinnamon and there's Saigon cinnamon. The Ceylon is supposedly a little better quality, so I picked that one up. So that's it, just a potato, some coconut oil, and the cinnamon. And I'm gonna wash that down with some green tea. I have green tea with both my meals. I normally I'll throw a pot of water on during the day, throw a couple of tea bags in there, and I just leave it, let it go. I heat it up in the morning and then just let it go throughout the day, and get a lot more tea out of it actually. So I think out of the pot I usually wind up with 3 nice big cups of tea out of it throughout the day. So I'm going to finish up my potato, and then I think we're going to move on to round number 3, course number 3. All right, guys, so course number 3, the final course for meal number 1 for the day. Again, I don't know if you could see that, but it's just some plain, full-fat Greek yogurt. I have some frozen strawberries sliced up in there. I buy the frozen strawberries because I'm tired of getting jobbed. I buy the regular strawberries, fresh strawberries, and if I don't get to them in time, by the time I get to the last ones, they're rotted out or whatever. So lately I've been just buying frozen fruit. I just do berries. I do strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. But in this case, I get the frozen strawberries. I heat them up for about a minute in the microwave. It softens them up. I slice them up. I throw them in a yogurt. I have some ground up pecans, about an ounce or so of pecans in there. Top it with a little cinnamon, and that's going to finish off the meal. Okay, so I'm going to finish this up. Again, wash this down with the rest of the green tea, and I'll see you in a minute. All right, guys, so that's the end of meal number 1 for the day. It's about 11:30 a.m. So my goal, like I said, when we finish that first meal, we want to have our final meal within 8 hours, right? So we're looking at, I'd like to be finished tonight by 7, I'm going to call it 7 o'clock rather than 7:30. They said, hopefully I will see you no later than 7 p.m. tonight, and we'll see what we're going to have for meal number 2, and then that'll be it. All right, guys, we're back. It's about 5:30. I just got done whipping up meal number 2. So tonight, if you can see that, what we have in here is a total of 3 cans of sardines. Now, I always buy the sardines packed in water. I don't get them in any type of oil, especially if you ever see them packed in soybean oil, canola oil. Those oils are toxic, so you're taking one of the healthiest foods you can eat and you're soaking it in extremely unhealthy oil. So I always get them in oil, and then what I do is when I heat them up in a pan, you don't want to fry these and cook them. I put them on a very low heat, a little bit of olive oil, and then I put the sardines in just to heat them up. I'm not looking to cook them and fry them up, you know. And then I'll throw in, today I have some tomatoes, onions, and white mushrooms chopped up in there. You could put any type of vegetable you like. Then what I do is I sprinkled a little bit of nutritional yeast on top. Nutritional yeast is actually really high in B vitamins, and it is a good source of protein, so you get a few extra grams of protein out of the deal. It's complete protein. And then what I did today was, I have another video that I posted some time back. You can go check that out, where I had a couple of my my go-to sardine recipes. But with this one, it's just the olive oil, the fish, the vegetables, the nutritional yeast, and then on top of that, I sprinkled some buffalo sauce. Now again, when you get your buffalo sauce, you have to watch, because one of the most popular brands that I used to get was Frank's, and they make a buffalo flavored sauce. But if you read the ingredients, they put canola oil in there. You don't want that in there. So I found one that looked clean enough to me. It was just the cayenne pepper, you know, the vinegar and whatever spices. No other added oils. So that's the type of thing you're looking for. Okay, so that's what I have right here. And then I mentioned earlier with my first meal that I do the kimchi, and the store was out of it, and I happened to stop today and they have it back. So what I do with this kimchi is I cut it with sauerkraut. I do half kimchi and just half plain sauerkraut. Okay, and I mix them up, and I'll have that as a side dish. So, and again, I'll wash it down with just water. So that's going to be the first course here. I'm going to finish this up, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes. All right, guys, I'm back. I'm going to finish up meal number 2. I'm going to do another serving. Actually, this is a full serving of the full-fat Greek yogurt. I have some mixed berries in there. Like I said, I've been lately just buying the frozen. I think it's more cost-effective, less waste. And I have some ground-up walnuts this time in there, again with my cinnamon. I'm going to wash this down with some green tea. Let me finish this up, and I'll be back to talk to you in a second. All right, guys, so that's it. I'm done eating for the day. I won't have anything again. It's about 6 o'clock now, so following our my minimum 16-hour fasting time. I won't eat again. My cutoff is going to be tomorrow at 10 a.m., which I'm sure it's going to be later than that. But I wouldn't eat anything prior to 10 a.m. tomorrow to make sure I stuck to that 16-hour rule, that minimum of 16 hours. All right, so that's it. You know, like I said, there's a reason for everything that I eat. There's a reason for everything that I don't eat. I'm not saying that my way is 100% right. You know, everybody has their own, just like when it comes to working out. You know what I mean? Everybody, you have to tailor it to your specific circumstance. You know what I mean? But I will tell you that I don't care how much working out you do. If you don't have your eating on point, things are never going to jive. Things aren't going to be right. You know what I mean? Again, as much as I advocate the exercise, if your diet is shit, it's all for naught. You're wasting your time. You know, you're just spinning your wheels. So that's it. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any other questions that I can answer, drop me a comment below. I'll get to it as soon as I can. Always appreciate you guys watching. Everybody have a good day, and I'm going to talk to you in the next one. Thanks, guys.